through several of these examples. But remember, we're not doing log loop now. We're going to do where you're raising both sides as an exponent. Okay, so for example, we're doing a little bit harder examples, but again, we already did these with log loops, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, take a look at number 1. What do I do first? My logs are added. Multiply. What is 2x multiplied by 4x? K log little 2, 8x squared. Very good. Then remember, to get rid of a log base 2, you don't do a log loop because we're practicing the other way. You're going to raise both sides to be a power on 2. So whatever this number is, I have to match it. So it's 2 up to the log 2 and 2 up to the 5. And remember, why do we do that? Well, an exponential and a log are inverses to each other, so they cancel each other out. So 2 and the log 2 here are gone. And then my 8x squared gets to be carried down. Then remember, this number over here on the other side, you're going to type into your calculator. So I'm typing in 2 up to the 5. Okay, 2 up to the 5 gives me, 32. And then from there, what would I do next? Divide by 8, because remember, you can't square root if there's a number in front. So then my 8's are gone, and I have x squared equals 4. And then what do I do from there? Square root, square root. And the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. Yep. Okay. Take a look at number 2 right next to it. Okay, what do I need to do first? Can I go ahead and combine my logs? I have a plus here in the middle. No. Well, actually, okay, so you have to move the 2. This is why. Do you see how, look ahead at number 3. Can I get rid of this 2? Can I divide by 2 on both sides? Yes. Why? Because there's only one log. Now, look back at number 2. If I try to divide by 2, I have to divide this log by 2, and there's not a number in front for me to divide it with. So that's the difference, is that here, I'm going to move the 2 up, because I'm dealing with multiple logs. That means that I can't just divide to get rid of it like I can on number 3. Okay? So now I have log x squared plus log 4. Combine those together. Now that's log of, what's x squared times 4? It'd be 4x squared, right? Okay, from there, what's the base on the log if it's not listed? 10. And then remember, we're not doing the loop, even though really it's the same. We're doing inverses. So to get rid of a log 10, I'm going to 10 both sides. So I'll do 10 up to the log 10. And 10 up to the 2. So you're raising both sides up to be a power on base 10. And then my 10 and my log 10 are going to cross out. Leaves you just with the 4x squared to bring down. So 4x squared comes down. And then 10 squared here is how much? 100. What do I do next? Divide by 4. 100 divided by 4 gives me 25. And then from there, we're going to square root on both sides. So square root, plus or minus 5. Good? Okay, take a look at number 3. Number 3, I'm dividing by 2 on both sides. These guys are gone. So I have log little 2 of x plus 1. Equals 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then from there, remember, to get rid of a log 2, you raise both sides to the 2. So it'd be 2 log 2 of x plus 1 and 2 to the 3. And then from there, your 2 and your log 2 cross out. And you have x plus 1 carries down. We remember what 2 to the 3 is? 8. And then to get rid of the plus 1, we minus 1. So x on that one would be 7. Okay, take a look at number 4. My logs are added. When I have added logs, what do I do with my parentheses? Still multiply, so I'll have the log of x times 5 is 5x. Okay, from there, my base is missing. That automatically means it's a base 10. So then I'm going to raise both sides to be a power on 10. So remember that it's 10 up to the log 10 and 10 up to the 1.8. Because 10 and log 10 cross out with each other. These guys cross out. 5x gets carried down, and then 10 to the 1.8 you would have to type into your calculator, since it's not a whole number. Okay, type it in right there. 10 up to the 1.8 is 63.095, which is going to bump up to 63.10, because the 5 bumps the 09 up. Then from there, divide by 63.10 divided by 5 gives me 12.62. Make sense? Good. Okay, take a look at number, let's do 5, I guess. Okay, we have a plus in the middle. What special property are you going to have to do on this one? Distribute. Very good. So when I combine these two, I'm going to have to distribute the x. So I'll have log little 3, and then x times x is x squared, x times minus 8 is minus 8x. Okay, then from here, to get rid of the log, we're going to apply the base on both sides. So if my base is a 3, it's going to be 3 up to the log 3, just like we did yesterday, and then 3 up to the 2. And then your 3 and your log 3 cross out, your x squared minus 8x can move down. And what is 3 squared the same as over there? 9. Very good. So I have x squared minus 8x equals 9. How are you going to solve it? Move the 9 over and then t-chart. Good. So it'll be x squared minus 8x minus 9 equals 0. Set up your t. Negative 9 goes up here at the top. 1 times 9 are going to be my numbers. And then if I want to subtract to get negative 8, which one do I have to minus? The 9. Good. So I'll put my minus right there, put them over x. And if it's x plus 1 and x minus 9, then what are my answers? Negative 1, positive 9. Good. Okay, bottom 2, look at number 7. Okay, my x's are, or my logs are subtracted. What am I going to end up doing? Multiply or divide them? Divide. So I have log little 2. X plus 12 gets to go on top. X minus 3 goes on bottom. Okay, and then we just learned this on Monday, I think. Okay, then from here, how do I get rid of a log 2? I apply a base of 2 on both sides. So a 2 here, 2 here. And I just didn't want to rewrite the whole thing, so I just put the 2 there. Okay, my 2 and my log 2 cross out. Okay, so that gives me x plus 12 over x minus 3. X plus 12 over x minus 3. And then 2 to the 4, if you still have your chart, you can use that, or you can just type it in. 2 to the 4 is the same as 16. Now, 16 over what? Because remember, we want to cross multiply. Over 1. Good job. And then from here, you're going to cross multiply. Okay, so let's do the 16 side first. So I'm doing 16 times x minus 3. Now remember, you have to times the 16 by the x and the minus 3. So really, you're kind of distributing if you think about it like that. 16 times x is 16x. 16 times minus 3, how much does that come out to be? minus 48. Okay, now I'm going to do my pink diagonal next. I have 1 multiplied by x plus 12. Well, 1 times x is still just x. 1 times 12 is a plus 12. And then remember, from here you want to bring the baby to the mama. So we're minusing our 1x across. What's 16x minus 1x? 15x minus 48 equals 12. Then to get rid of the minus 48, I'm going to have to add it across. So plus 48 plus 48. What is 12 plus 48? Then 15x is 60, last step. Divide by 15. And that gives me that x is 4. Okay, one more like that. Look at number 8. Notice in the middle you have a subtraction. Subtraction means that you're going to take your parentheses and you are going to divide. So when I combine my logs, I'm going to have log little 3, x minus 2, divide by x plus 8. Okay, then remember we said to get rid of a log base 3, we have to apply a base 3 to both sides. So I have 3 up to the log 3, 3 up to the negative 2. 3 log 3 crosses out. I'm going to carry down my fraction-y part, the x minus 2 over x plus 8. On the other side, what do I do if the exponent is negative? What does that turn it into? Makes it a fraction. Okay, so don't forget that. It doesn't make it, right? 3 to the 2 is 9. It doesn't make it negative 9. It makes it 1 over 9. So you want to be careful about that. 3 squared is 9. Well, then that's 1 over 9. And when you cross multiply, I would always pick the bigger number to do first. So I'm going to multiply the 9 diagonal first this time. What is 9 times x? 9x. What's 9 times minus 2? 18. On the other side, I'm timesing my 1. 1 times x is x. 1 times 8 is 8. And then from there, you just keep solving. So I'm going to minus my x across. Remember, usually you would want to get rid of those first. Okay, 9 take away 1 is going to give me 8 x's left over. And then to get rid of a minus 18, I'm going to have to add it to the other side. So plus 18 and plus 18. 8 plus 18 is how many? 26. And if 8x is 26, then divide by 8, you'll have your answer. So 3.25. Good? Okay, so you have a quiz coming up. It's on solving logs, flip over, and then it's also on solving exponentials. So that is, if you look at your homework, that's what the whole front is like. They're all logs. Okay, now turn over to the back. This time you're going to start with exponentials. Okay, so let's say you're doing number 9. How do I get rid of 1.5 if it's the base of my exponential? We learned this yesterday. You take the log base 1.5. Very good. So if I want to get rid of that, I'm going to put log 1.5 here, log 1.5 here. This is what we learned yesterday. And then remember, why do we do that? Okay, you can fill in the blank right here, because exponentials and logs with the same base are inverses, and that means that they cancel out. So the reason that we do that is because that then they're inverses to each other and they cancel out, just like on the other side they were canceling out. So these are gone. I'm going to carry down the x minus 1. So x minus 1 equals, and then on this side you're going to have to use your calculator. Okay, if you do not remember the buttons to open that up, it's alpha window. And then you're going to choose number 5, which says log base. Okay? So I'll show you up here. Alpha window 5. Alpha window 5. That gives me this on my calculator. And then I put 1.5 as my little number. And I put 14.5 as my big number. So I got 6.9 or 6.595, which is 6.60. Then from there, for the minus 1, we just add 1 across to get rid of it. So plus 1 plus 1. Make sense? Alright, take a look at number 10. How do I get rid of a base 1/2? I do a log base 1/2, right? So remember, fractions work exactly the same way. Now, when you log base a fraction, do you remember how it comes out? Comes out to be negative. Good. So I log base 1/2 so that it can cross out with the 1/2 that's already there. So these guys are gone. 2 minus x is going to carry down. And then on the other side, you're just typing that in. So alpha window 5. And then remember, when you want the 1/2, you can just type in 1 divided by 2. And that, you don't need like a fancy fraction or anything. Okay, it came out to be negative 0.67. How do I get rid of the 2 in the front? Add or subtract it? Subtract it is correct. Remember that the 2 itself is positive. That negative is really belonging to the x next to it. So plus 2 minus 2 cross out. Negative x equals. And then negative 2 minus 0.67 gives me negative 2.67. And then how will I get rid? Actually, I guess it should be 6/8, right? Since the next number is a 8. And then to get rid of that negative in the front, I'm going to divide by, that's really a negative 1. And when you divide by a negative 1, it's just going to turn your number back to a positive. So it'll be 2.68. Okay? Alright, skip 11. Since we already did this yesterday, let's go down to 12 with the fraction in it. Number 12, what would I do first? I'm going to have to log base what? Log base 3 both sides. So I'm going to log base 3 the 3, and then I'm going to log base 3 the 13. Then the log 3 and the 3 cross out with each other. X over 2 plus 1 is going to get to move down now that the 3 is out of the way. And then on this side, remember, you're putting that in your calculator. So alpha window 5, little 3, big 13. Type it in just like that. And I get 2.33. Okay, what do I do next? Subtract the 1. 2 take away 1 is going to be 1.33 on that side. And then if it's an x over 2, remember that's an x divide by 2. To get rid of divide by 2, you multiply by 2. So I'm going to times by 2 here, times by 2 here. So that's going to give me 1.66. Because I'm just doubling it, basically. Okay? Alright, last one we're going to do is 14. Okay, can I go ahead and log base both sides? On number 14, this one? Why not? Got to get rid of the what? The 7. And if it's in front like that, I have to divide to get rid of it. So, oh, thanks. 2.66, yes ma'am. Okay, so divide by 7. That gives me 20x squared. And then 70 divided by 7 gives me a 10. Then from there, we're going to log base 20 both sides. And when you log base 20, the number 10 When you log base 20, the number 10, you get 0.768, which is going to be 0.77. Now, on the other side, my log 20s cross out. I have an x squared. What would my last step be on that one? Square root both sides. And remember that you can square root non-perfect squares. You're just going to get a decimal. Okay, so I'm going to take my 0.77 and I'm going to square root it. So I got 0.877, which is 0.88. Now, when I write that, what do I need to remember to put in front? Plus or minus. Very good. Make sense? Alright, cool. Take a look at your homework. Okay, so today is basically a review day because we'd already pretty much covered everything. You are going to have a quiz on Friday, but I think instead I'm going to give you your quiz tomorrow. Y'all are going to get a free day on Friday because y'all are my only class. My other two Algebra 2s, this You Teach guy is coming to teach them, but he's only coming for my 5th and 7th. So I'm going to give you guys a free day, but I'm going to quiz you a day early so your day off is on Friday instead of on Thursday. Okay? So you'll have a quiz tomorrow. It's multiple choice. So that should make it maybe a little bit easier because you'll already know how to. So treat this like a review. If you can do your homework, you'll be good on the quiz tomorrow. Okay? Yes, sir. On the homework? Sure. 5. Okay, so what do we do when our logs are subtracted? Okay, divide. So if I wanted to divide, and I'm doing 6x to the 5th divided by 3x to the 3, what is going to be left over when I divide those? 6 divided by 3 gives me a 2. And actually, you know what? I need you to fix something real quick. Will you write in a 64? Because if these don't match each other, then you can't do it. So just put a little 64 right there. So it'll be log base 64 because those have to match. And then when I divide 6x to the 5 over 3x to the 3, 6 divided by 3 is a 2. And how many x's will be left if there are 5 on top and 3 on bottom? 2. X squared, or x to the 2. Okay, then what do I do from there? So I'm going to put a 64 as a base here, and a 64 as a base here. And remember that your 64 and your log 64 cross out. This side, you're doing 64 up to the 0.5. 64 up to the 0.5. So I'll type it in here so you can see it. Okay, 64 up to the 0.5. And it comes out to be 8. So I have 2x squared equals 8. What would I do next? Divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. And then what would my last step be? Square root. You got it. So x would be plus or minus 2. And then actually, let's do maybe number 3, just to make sure you remember how to do it if there's logs on both sides. Okay, look at number 3 right above it. How do you fix it if there's a log on both sides? Does that change the plan at all? No, you still raise both sides. What base do I use? So I'd have 2 to the log 2 of 4x minus 5. And then 2 to the log 2 of 2x plus 7. So I 2 both sides, and then both of my logs are going to cancel out because both of them are base 2, so it's going to be gone. So these guys are gone, 2 log 2. These guys are gone, 2 log 2. And now it's just like a normal equation that you can solve. So it'd be 4x minus 5, 2x plus 7. And then from there you'll just solve it. So you'd minus your 2x across first. 4x minus 2x leaves me with 2x left over. What would you do after that? Add the 5 across. 7 plus 5 gives me 12. And if 2x is 12, then divide by 2 on both sides, x is 6. Okay? Yes, sir. You can log loop, yes. It doesn't algebraically. The only difference is that your equation comes out to be flip-flopped. So like if you log looped, let's say number 1, instead of having x minus 2 on this side, you do 4 up, and then x minus 2 ends up over here. But your answer will come out the same. Okay, you can do it. And then we'll have your quiz tomorrow. Flip over to the back. I don't think we did one like 12 today, but we did yesterday. What would you get rid of first on 12? Just to make sure you would have to get rid of the 3 first. So you would add your 3 across. 18 plus 3 is how many? 21. Okay, now can I log base? Still no. You have to get rid of what? The 7. And then 21 divided by 7 gives me 3. And then to get rid of the 5, remember you're leaving this little space because you're going to have to log 5 both sides. So log 5 there, log 5 there. And then those guys will cross out and just give you an x minus 1 left over. Okay? Okay, and then you can finish that one up. So if you have any questions on this, ask them today because I'm going to have y'all quiz tomorrow and you can do it.